pleasant morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing fine. I am Alira Mae Macaraeg. Along with me are Juliana, Marce, Cayonte, and Resurreccion, Nathalie, Salinas. So we are the group 4 who will lead the discussion of Module 4 and 5 of Sir Acuña's Unit 2 of Philosophical Analysis. So in the previous module, the Module 3, we learned about the types of knowledge claims. And these are formal claim, empirical claim, and evaluative claim. So before we formally begin with our discussion for today, let's take a look at the objectives of Module 4 entitled Theories of Truth. So first, compare and contrast coherence and correspondence theory of truth. Second, differentiate the different versions of correspondence theory. And last, apply the method of verification by intersubjective consensus. Okay, so we will now proceed to the difference of coherence and correspondence theory of truth. I will first define the coherence theory, and the correspondence theory will be discussed later by Resurreccion, Nathalie, Salinas. So, in the previous module, we learned that to verify an analytical statement, we use the coherence theory of truth. So, coherence basically means a relational term wherein it must cohere with at least two philosophical categories. So the first category is a formal knowledge claim in the nature of analytic statement. And the second category is the formal systems like mathematics, logic, geometry, and linguistic and empirical systems. Let's take a look at the examples. So 5 plus 7 equals 12 is a mathematical claim. The coherence here means mathematical coherence with a formal system of arithmetic. We can see that the first term or the first category, which is the 5 plus 7 equals 12, coheres with the second category or the formal system of arithmetic. Next example is tautological statement. Examples are either I graduate or I don't, to be or not to be. If your statement is true, then it is true. The first term of the tautological statement has logical coherence with a formal system of symbolic logic. Another example is the well-formed formula of geometry. Examples are the sum of the angles of triangles is equal to 180 degrees. A square is a geometric figure with four equal sides. Two lines that are parallel will not meet. So these are examples of a well-formed formula that have formal system they cohere with, which is the well-formed formula of geometry. So the claim that the sum of the angles of triangle is equal to 180 degrees and the square is a geometric figure with four equal sides coheres with the formal system of geometry. In Kant's definition of analytic statement, he defined analytic statement where the predicate is contained in the subject. Examples are puppies are young dogs, all bachelors are unmarried males, fathers are male parents, bigamy is getting married twice, brothers are male siblings, all animals with hooves are herbivores. So coherence here means coherence with views or the definition of the term in linguistic system. These analytical statements cohere with the English language system of the first term. So last example is another category of analytical claims. So examples are amphibians are animals that can live on land and water. Birds are animals with feathers. So for these statements, it must cohere with the stipulative definition of the terms amphibians and birds in the empirical system of zoology. So quick review lang po ng stipulative definition for what is discussed in the previous lesson. It is the conventional use or the standard use of the word or term. So in conclusion, the formal knowledge claim or the analytical statement can only be true if it coheres with the formal system it is related with.
So let's now move on to the correspondence theory of truth. Same with coherence, correspondence is also a relational term that relates to philosophical categories, the philosopher's empirical knowledge claim and the philosopher's theory of reality. As discussed in Module 3, it was mentioned that correspondence theory of truth verifies empirical claims using the five senses. So for example, the cat is on the mat. To be true, there is the presence of the cat and the mat wherein the cat is on top of the mat. Therefore, if what the statement asserts corresponds to the state of affairs or the situation, the claim is true. But if it does not correspond, then it is false. Terracuña provided a realist version of truth wherein it is useful in verifying empirical and evaluative claims. This version allowed the most primitive man to survive in the contemporary world and is found in almost all, if not all, naturally evolved languages. So first, we have the claims about an event in the present, such as, I am very attentive today. The girl beside me is wearing a red dress. My classmates are noisy. And the weather is warm. These are verified using direct observations or using the five senses. For example, my classmates are noisy and you have use your sense of hearing to verify if the claim is true. Next, if the claim is a prediction about future events, we appeal to the evidence of observation of past regularities. For example, the sun will rise tomorrow. We are certain that the sun will rise tomorrow since it rises every day. Same as other examples, earthquakes are often followed by aftershocks, and those clouds mean it is going to rain. Because we already experience or observe them, we already know what will happen next. Meaning, the verification by correspondence is by future observations. On the other hand, if the empirical claim is about the past, such as people power once succeeded due to US intervention and it was Diliman who killed Nina Aquino, then the correspondence means the use of documents and testimony of eyewitnesses to verify if the claim is true. If the claim is an empirical generalization in varying degrees of generality, then it corresponds with the evidence provided by the representative sample of the population concerned, such as almost all UP students who study hard finish their courses, and most UP professors are qualified to teach their courses. Let's look at this. If the first category is the prediction the sun will rise tomorrow, then the second category is future observation. And the nature of the relation between the first and second category is correspondence.
So now let's tackle more about the verification by intersubjective consensus. So to further understand the concept of intersubjective consensus, let's break down its term first. Intersubjective by definition means existing between conscious minds or shared by more than one conscious mind. On the other hand, consensus is a general agreement. So for example, the evaluative claim stealing is wrong. Everyone would definitely agree that stealing is wrong. Do you also agree that stealing is wrong? Definitely. The majority of the people would say it is. Without the knowledge of intersubjective consensus, we know that stealing is wrong because we were taught that it is against our principles and violate our moral principles. But by applying the knowledge of intersubjective consensus, we must know why stealing is considered wrong. So, this evaluative claim is a generalization of the intersubjective consensus of real people playing a language game while sharing a form of life. And we will use correspondence theory of truth to verify this claim. If we accept the claim mentioned earlier, we are claiming that the evaluative judgment is supported by a strong intersubjective consensus. Gathering of intersubjective consensus is actually an empirical task, meaning it relies more on experiences than theories. Also, the task would be easier if and when the evaluative claim stealing is wrong corresponds to the moral or principles of the concerned public, most especially when intersubjective consensus about moral and immoral behavior has already been codified in the form of a moral rule or principles. So another example, let's say plagiarism is wrong. If this evaluative claim is accepted, its prescription "do not plagiarize is the correct and proper thing to do" should also be accepted. Otherwise, we would be guilty of dissonance because there's been an inconsistency between the truth and what people want to believe in. And the falsifying instance of prescriptive claim is not the scholar who plagiarizes, but by establishing the rightness of the evaluative claim, which is plagiarism is good. We all know that plagiarism is ethically wrong, most especially to the field of academic community, in which its audience threatens the consensus. Otherwise, we would be otherwise we would be guilty of dissonance because there's been an inconsistency between the truth and what people want to believe in. So, proscriptions as well as prescriptions are evaluative inferences from evaluative judgments asserting what is good, moral, virtuous, desirable, or just. Say for example, say for example, premarital is wrong. So the prescription of this claim would be do not engage in premarital sex is right. However, this claim is falsifiable or refutable depending on the strength of the intersubjective consensus of the public about this topic. This prescription is falsifiable by offering an evaluative claim premarital sex is good. Kasi back then, the idea of intercourse should be done by two consenting adults, but dapat kasal na. However, in our generation, or I mean these days, some people would totally agree that premarital sex is good as long as both parties have consent and in the right age and practice it safely. Moving on, there are two types of intersubjective consensus, which are the deontological and teleological. Deontological focuses on the nature of the act or behavior itself. For instance, let's say that if it is held that a total logging ban is good in itself and the consequence of the policy is unimportant. But on the other hand, teleological is the consequence of the act or behavior. For instance, if it is held that a total logging ban is good only if the consequences of the ban result in a beneficial consequences for the country. So that's all for the module 4, and now we will be discussing the module 5, which tackles your obligation as a critical thinker. So our objectives are: first, apply your obligation as a critical thinker; second, distinguish the realm of known, knowable, and unknowable; and third, distinguish the realm of the provable and unprovable. So first, let's discuss your obligation as a critical thinker. So, as a philosophy student, we must be aware of our obligation as a critical thinker. We must take into account that we should never accept the truth of any belief or statement unless there is an adequate evidence for it. So we must be wary of the evidence presented to us and be rational about it. If the evidence for a claim or a belief is not adequate, our option must be either reject the claim or suspend the judgment. Second, we must take a healthy skepticism. By definition, skepticism is an attitude of doubt or disposition, meaning we must not just believe the things that are presented to us, but question it in a healthy way. And lastly, in order for us to be faithful to our obligation as a critical thinker, we must take into account the epistemic distinction, namely the knowledge claimed in the realm of known, knowable, and unknowable. Just a brief, uh, just a brief information about this. Because of the knowledge empirical science provided to us, those things that are knowable back then became known today because of the extensive research conducted by people. So a very good example of this are the DNA testing, cloning animals, and the existence of black hole in the universe. So the knowledge claimed in the realm of known, knowable, and unknowable will be further discussed in the next slide.
So now let's discuss the known, knowable, and unknowable. So let's first discuss the realm of known and the realm of knowable. So as mentioned earlier, known is the knowledge that we know because the empirical sciences provide us with the knowledge of the known. For example, knowledge about ourselves, our immediate surroundings, the world we live in, and the universe we did 50 years ago. We know a lot about these things. And the things that are known today was in the realm of knowable before. For example, the DNA testing, cloning animals, and the existence of black holes in the universe. So, sciences are still probing the realm of knowable, meaning they are still searching for evidences of the knowable claims. The realm of knowable is usually an extrapolation from the known. It means that the knowable claims are estimation from the known. For example, human cloning is a possibility from the realm of the knowable to known because of previous experimentation. And for the unknowable, these are knowledge claims that are unprovable. There is no evidence to support the knowledge claim. When the evidence is only provable in principle, it means that it is only a theory, and hypothetically, the evidence can be produced, though it cannot produce in fact. For example, the origin of the universe. This topic is very controversial now and then. There is a lot of theories about it, but sad to say, it is in the realm of unknowable because it is hard to get evidence from that. So, although there is the hope that it could pass into the knowable. So, in conclusion, known and knowable are provable. And well, the unknowable is unprovable.
So many knowledge claims that are assumed to be true are not even provable. If viewed as empirical claims, beliefs such as the existence of heaven and hell or the reality of reincarnation are unprovable. So, or no evidence can prove or support the claim. If the claims are empirical, producing the necessary evidence is impossible either in fact, or that means evidence is readily available, or in principle, or that means hypothetically the evidence can be produced, though it cannot be produced in fact. Thus, they are unknowable. And your obligation as a critical thinker is to reject the unknowable claims. But if they are taken as evaluative claims, the evidence is a strength of the people's intersubjective consensus of people playing a language game while sharing a form of life. If you exercise these distinctions as a critical thinker, you will not easily believe rumors, gossip, and superstition since almost all of them are unprovable claims. Even if the authority stated something, if it does not have evidence, you'll still not easily believe it. Therefore, in the long run, you'll accumulate beliefs and information founded on evidence, and you'll be transformed into a different person, a critical and an independent thinker. So, as a reminder, Sir Acuna said, as a critical thinker, accept the truth of the beliefs in the realm of the known, suspend the judgment if the belief is in the realm of the knowable, and reject all beliefs in the realm of the unknowable. So, that would be all, and I hope you learned a lot from our discussion. Thank you very much.